What's going on, guys? Alex here with TFL Bike, and I have some pretty exciting news over my shoulder right there in the adventure biking world because Aprilia just dropped news on their all-new Tuareg 660, which falls into the middleweight adventure bike segment. It's a super popular segment that's really been heating up lately with bikes like the Tenere 700, KTM's 890 Adventure, and now there's an all-new offering from Aprilia. So let's jump into the news and see what it's all about. So Aprilia is actually bringing back the name Tuareg, and I hope I'm saying that right, but you can let me know down in the comments below if I'm not. But they used this name back in the late 80s and early 90s for an adventure bike as well, and it used a very similar paint scheme to what we see on this new bike. So pretty cool that they're playing into their past and bringing out a bike with the same name and kind of the same color scheme, and you know, the look of the bike throws back to the old one. So definitely a big fan of that. Now 660 is in the name as well, and 660 has been used in a bunch of new Aprilias this year, the RS 660 as well as the Tuono 660. Basically what Aprilia did was they took their RS V4 engine, they cut it in half and made it a parallel twin with 2 cylinders. In this bike, it's making 80 horsepower and about 51 foot-pounds of torque. So down in power a little bit versus the RS 660 and the Tuono. But people have been loving this engine. I haven't ridden one personally yet, but everyone I've talked to that has some experience on a 660 has just been loving it. So really cool that they're throwing this motor into an adventure bike. Now let's just take a general look at the design of this bike. Like I mentioned earlier, the color scheme plays into the old Tuareg, but I think it's a really cool looking bike. The motor is definitely a centerpiece of it. It has that kind of stripped down look, not a lot of fairings or plastic in the way blocking the motor. Looks like a pretty traditional flat style dirt seat, which is cool to see. Really cool headlight design up front. I really like that. Big windscreen. Really knobby tires with spoked wheels. It seems like a lot of times with adventure bikes, you either get one that's really good off-road or really good on-road, and it's hard to strike that balance in the middle. And this one looks like it leans more on the off-road side, just like the Tenere, which is really cool. I like to see that this at least looks like it should be a pretty capable bike off-road. You can see the little skid plate down there blocking the exhaust so you don't bang up your headers. Like I said, pretty knobby tires, hand guards, so it looks like it should be pretty capable right out of the box. Now as far as suspension goes, up front you're looking at 43 millimeter forks. You have a monoshock out back, 240 millimeters of suspension travel front and rear, and the suspension is fully adjustable front and rear, which is very nice to see as well, and that's kind of what I would expect from an adventure bike coming from one of the more premium manufacturers. Now as far as brakes go, you have twin discs up front with Brembo calipers, a single disc in the rear, and this bike does have ABS, and the ABS can be disabled, which is great for off-road, so you can shut it off completely or you can disable it just for the rear wheel, which is a nice off-road feature. You get 4 riding modes on this new Aprilia, and that is thanks to the ride-by-wire throttle. So 2 of those modes are custom. One of them is going to be your off-road mode, and then there's also an IMU on board this bike, so things like traction control and the ABS will be able to take lean angle into account and keep you safe, keep the rubber side down. The bike also has cruise control, and all of this you can play around with and control using a 5-inch TFT display, which looks really nice, and it's massive as well. Much better looking than the screen on the Tenere 700, which is a really popular pick in this category. So really cool to see a full TFT with lots of bright colors. It looks really, really good. Now, weight-wise, this is a middleweight adventure bike. Aprilia says 412 pounds dry, so it's probably going to be somewhere in the range of like 430 to 440 when it's fully gassed up, loaded with fluids, ready to go on the road. It does have a 4.76 gallon fuel tank, which is pretty sizable. So if you want to do some long trips on this bike, it should be pretty easy to do so. Unfortunately, there's no pricing or availability information on this new Tuareg 660, which is a big bummer because I would love to know when this bike is actually available, but we can look at the pricing on some other bikes and be able to estimate where this new Aprilia might fall in terms of price. So the Tuono 660, which this shares an engine with, is $10,500. Then the RS 660, which is more of the track focused or sport bike version versus the naked look on the Tuono, that one's $11,300. The Tenere from Yamaha is a $10,000 bike, and then KTM's 890 Adventure is $13,000. So if I had to guess, I would say we're probably going to be somewhere in the $12,000 to $14,000 range for this new Tuareg 660. Anyway, I know this was a pretty short video. We have a lot going on at the office this week. There's a monkey video where Tommy took his monkey off-road coming to this channel pretty soon. We have tons of Bronco videos coming. That's part of the reason I had to get this up so quick, is because I've got some Bronco stuff to edit. That's all on TFL Car and TFL Off-Road. But anyway, just wanted to get you this news as soon as I could. So let me know down in the comments below what you think of this new Tuareg 660. Do you think it's actually going to give BMW, KTM, Yamaha, Honda a run for their money as far as adventure bikes go? We'll have to wait and see. It's kind of a new space for Aprilia. I know they've been there in the past, but it's been a while. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this bike, and we'll catch you in the next video.